Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to get past the hype and really look at the stories grabbing everyone's attention and figure out why they actually matter to you. So today, we are diving headfirst into a book that's just, well, exploded. Rebecca Yarros' Fourth Wing. It's book one of the Empyrean series. Now look, if you've been anywhere online lately, especially BookTok, that corner of TikTok where books go viral, you've definitely seen this one. It's not just popular, it's this massive romantasy thing. Think intense dragon battles, super tough military school, and yeah, a pretty steamy romance that just shot up the bestseller lists. It's become a real moment.
Bigger than just its genre.
Exactly. And that's what we want to do here. Go beyond that buzz. We're not just asking what is Fourth Wing, but why? Why does it hit so hard for millions? We're digging into the insights, maybe some surprising depth, and figuring out what makes it this cultural touchstone. Because honestly, there's more going on beneath the spectacle than you might think at first glance. Lots to talk about.
Definitely. And just to add fuel to the fire, literally, this thing is already heading for your TV screen. Amazon MGM Studios is adapting it, and Michael B. Jordan's company, Outlier Society, is involved. So, yeah, this tells you right away it's way more than just a book. It's becoming a whole universe. Okay, so let's get into the core of it. The premise. We'll keep it light on spoilers, don't worry. Our main character is Violet Sorrengail. She's 20, and all she wants is a quiet life, Working in the scribe's archives, surrounded by books, that's her dream. That's where she feels she belongs. But her mother, who happens to be this incredibly intimidating commanding general, has very different plans, very dangerous plans. Violet gets pushed into Basgiath War College. This place trains dragon riders. And it's brutal. The rules are stark. If you're seen as weak, you die. If a dragon flat out rejects you when it's time to bond, you die. If your rivals take you out during the trials, which are often lethal, well, you get the picture. It's just incredibly high stakes from page one. Survival is absolutely not guaranteed. Imagine that for college orientation.
And what's really interesting is how Yarros weaves these different genres together so well. You've got the epic fantasy, the dragon battles, but then there's this intense, almost Hunger Games-like feel with the elite school politics. And threaded through all that, a slow burn romance. This mix makes it just propulsive, a really high-stakes ride that readers clearly found addictive. It explains a lot about the BookTok success, right? It just hits all those notes. And there's this one line from the book that just perfectly captures the world's brutality. It really sets the tone. A dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead. That single sentence tells you everything about the stakes, the dependency, this life or death bond that's absolutely central to the whole story. It's not just friendship, it's like existential. One simply cannot survive without the other.
Okay, so let's dig into that why. Beyond the dragons and the plot that makes you keep turning pages.
Oh, yeah.
Why did this book become such a massive phenomenon? What's the secret sauce?
Right.
Well, that first hook is hard to resist, isn't it? Top Gun meets dragons. With this deadly school setting, that pitch alone is pretty compelling. High action, intense rivalry. And then the romance. You can't talk about Fourth Wing without talking about the romance, specifically that enemies to lovers thing with Sigmund Rierson. It's not just, background noise. It drives so much of the plot, the character growth for both Violet and Vadine. It really raises the emotional stakes. You really feel invested in every single interaction, every loaded glance.
But there's something else going on, something really important that maybe doesn't get as much airtime in the quick takes, and that's the representation. The author, Rebecca Yarros, has been open about living with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which affects connective tissues. It often means hypermobility, pain, fragile tissues, stuff like that. And you see that reflected so clearly, so powerfully in Violet's physical challenges within the story. She's not the physically strongest cadet, not even close, and this isn't just a minor detail. It fundamentally shapes everything for her. How she approaches combat, how she strategizes, how she ultimately survives in a place built for the strongest. She has to rely on her brain, her wits, her adaptability. It turns what could be seen as a weakness into her unique edge. And I think that adds incredible depth and makes her really relatable for a lot of readers. It shows agency can come from unexpected places.
That's a really powerful point. It kind of flips the script on the typical fantasy hero archetype, doesn't it? So moving beyond that, let's talk about the deeper themes. Because it's not just dragons and fighting and romance, right? At its core, Fourth Wing feels like it's about survival, plain and simple, but also about finding your agency, your power, when the whole system seems designed to break you. And it's about trust. Who deserves it? Who betrays it? That whole journey of figuring yourself out when the rules are just brutal. It's a tough coming-of-age story, really, just wrapped in this fantasy setting.
Yeah, and if you zoom out, you can see this bigger theme. The individual versus the system. Basgiath War College. It's this militarized machine. It normalizes violence, demands conformity. Think about Violet. She's meant to be a scribe, right? Quiet, studious, but she's forced onto this warrior path. So her fight isn't just against other cadets or, external threats. It's an internal battle, too, finding her place, her worth in this rigid system that doesn't value what she naturally brings. She's constantly questioning the rules, the history they teach. She has to figure out which truths to accept and which to challenge. That's a huge part of her journey.
It really is. Makes you appreciate a quiet library.
Right.
But interestingly, even within this incredibly harsh world, Yarros brings in some modern values.
Exactly. That's quite striking, actually. She intentionally builds in equality and consent as, baseline norms. Even amidst all the brutality and the life or death situations, it gives the romance and the relationships in general a really contemporary feel. It grounds them in respect, which is honestly a powerful choice. It doesn't ignore the harsh reality, but it suggests a better way is possible, even there.
It definitely makes the emotional core feel more solid, more resonant maybe, allows those connections to feel earned. And speaking of emotions, there's that quote that just hits you about the internal struggle. Hope is a fickle, dangerous thing. That really captures the feeling, doesn't it? Like any small win is fragile. Trust, love, life itself. It can all vanish in a second at Basgiath. It makes their resilience even more striking because hope is something they have to fight for constantly.
Precisely. And then on the flip side of that vulnerability, you have Violet's core principle, summed up in another great quote. The right way isn't the only way. That's not just a saying for her. It's her survival strategy. It's how she overcomes her physical limitations. She finds different paths, uses her intelligence, refuses to just fit into a box that wasn't made for her. That's her ingenuity right there.
Okay, so let's bring it back to you, the potential reader. What are the big things fans really latch onto? Why are people so passionate about this book?
Well, number one has to be the pacing. It's relentless, and the stakes are sky high. That feeling that anyone could actually die, it's real, and it keeps you absolutely hooked, turning pages like mad. You're just constantly tense, wondering who's going to make it. And, like we touched on, the romance isn't just tacked on. It really fuels Violet's growth. Her sense of self, her agency, it develops right alongside her relationships, especially with Xaden, but also, crucially, with her dragons. Oh, and the dragons. The world building around it is fantastic. Terran, the grumpy old one, and Andarna, the young, surprisingly wise one. They have real personalities. It makes the world feel so much more alive. You're not just reading about creatures, you're meeting characters.
Absolutely. But, for a fair picture, we should mention the things potential readers might want to know going in. The caveats, let's say. First off, be crystal clear. This is new adult, NA, definitely not YA, young adult. Okay. So you need to expect explicit romantic scenes and quite a bit of swearing. The violence and spice, as the fans call it, they're pretty central to the story. So just be aware of that mature content. And maybe you heard about this, kind of a side note to the whole phenomenon, the printing drama with the sequel Iron Flame. Some of the first copies had misprints, quality issues. The publisher sorted it out with reprints, which was good, but it became part of the conversation around the series' massive scale. Just an interesting little detail.
Right. Shows how huge the demand was. So thinking bigger picture now, what's the cultural impact here? Well, Fourth Wing didn't just sell well. It really helped kickstart or at least define this current romantasy wave. It seriously boosted fantasy and sci-fi sales, especially driven by BookTok. It tapped into something readers were clearly hungry for, high-stakes fantasy with strong character arcs and central romance. And it just nailed it. It definitely influenced what publishers are looking for now.
And that ongoing buzz is huge for readers, right? It creates this whole community, online discussions, fan theories, fan art. It's a whole ecosystem. Plus, knowing there's a TV show coming, it means this world isn't just going to fade away. It promises a long-term experience for fans, something they can engage with together for years.
So the big question. Is Fourth Wing for you? Well, you're probably going to love it if you want that epic dragon spectacle, the intense school setting, that addictive enemies to lovers tension done well. And if you like a heroine who's smart, tactical, and wins through wit as much as anything else, if you like worlds where survival is tough and growth is hard-earned, yeah, jump in. But maybe give it a pass if you prefer your fantasy low on violence, or if you like your romance more closed door, without the explicit stuff. And also, if you only read standalone books. This is absolutely book one of a longer series. And things definitely escalate the stakes, the romance, all of it. It's a commitment.
Yeah, the short answer is, if that pitch sounds exciting, absolutely give it a shot. It really delivers on the promise of modern romantasy. You get the fast plot, the characters you actually feel for, these big cinematic moments that just play out in your head. And yeah, a romance that tons of people are really reading for. And thinking about how to read it, if you like audiobooks, this one's apparently great. Rebecca Solar does the main narration, and later versions have Teddy Hamilton for other POVs. People say it makes the world feel really big and immediate. But if you're the type who likes to highlight things, make notes on the politics, the dragon facts, the sigils, really dig into the details, then print or ebook is probably the way to go, especially if you think you'll want the whole series on your shelf.
And here's a cool little factoid about its reach. Fourth Wing has been one of the most borrowed books in U.S. public libraries. That says a lot, right? It's not just hitting a niche online crowd. It's got broad appeal, pulling in readers from all over.
Absolutely. And maybe the perfect quote to end this section on, the one that just sums up Violet's spirit, that core theme of survival. It's simple but powerful. I will not die today. That's her mantra, right? Her declaration against everything trying to crush her. It's about that sheer will to keep going.
So there you have it. Fourth Wing, dragons, desire, danger, and a heroine who just refuses to quit. It's intense, it's addictive, and like we said, there's actually quite a bit going on under the surface.
And it leaves you thinking, maybe, given Violet's whole journey, challenging the rules, fighting the system, how much of our own strength comes from questioning things instead of just accepting them, something to chew on.
That's a great thought to end on. We really hope this deep dive helps you figure out if Fourth Wing is your next read. Maybe grab the audiobook, hit the library, or snag a copy. Let us know what you think if you do read it, or if this chat sparked any thoughts. We'd love to hear them. Until next time, keep reading and keep digging deep.
Subscribe to the Timeless Tales podcast. Your stories, your time.